last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
Oh, good. I have video now.
Hello, hello.
Good. I have video now.
Welcome everyone to Speedrunners Arena for the Super Metroid Randomizer Accessible Tournament 2021 Swiss Round 4 announcements. I'm Jay Chalk. I've been doing the announcements for the past 3 weeks, but this time we are joined by the lovely Cheese Reaver, and Invarial. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
So this is round 4. We're going to have 4 separate groups. We're going to have 3 O's facing off against each other. We're going to have 2 1s facing off against each other. We're going to have 1 2s facing off against each other, and O 3s facing off against each other. I'm assuming this starts with O 3 matchups and then works its way down. But I guess let's just go ahead and get started.
Well, before we do, I just want to mention that the 1-2 bracket I'm particularly interested in because at the end of the 1-2 bracket, there's a warp pipe which takes you directly to 4-1, right?
Yeah. Also to mention, there are some absolute monsters in the 1-2 bracket. So there's going to be potentially monsters in the the 03 or excuse me, the 1-3 bracket. So there's a lot of things that could happen. But we do have 10 undefeateds left. So we're going to see 5 matchups with the undefeateds. Moving on to round 5 would be 5 left. And then, yeah, we'll see. So let's go ahead and take a look at that first matchup. Heyo. Phoenix down a 3-peater in the SMRAT tournament. Desmus, I actually believe, also is a 3-peater. Definitely the last 2. Both similar skill levels, I'd say. Phoenix down definitely knows the logic. Could be pretty interesting. So we're starting off with the most exciting ones.
Irellis getting effectively a bye today. Should have been racing at 3, but unfortunately his opponent is not feeling so well. So that should be an interesting match next week.
I bet you can hear me now, though. I've been talking, and you all have not been able to hear me, and apparently I need to turn Invarial down a little bit.
Oh.
Alright, so now, perhaps, things will be better. Yeah, so that's what we got up next. Yeah, as Invarial said, Rallis got a win on a forfeit. That is unfortunate, but things happen. And then we have Chish. I'm a little quiet. Alright. That's not something I'm very often told.
Yeah, I mean, I frequently get told that I'm too loud. But...
All right, so let's see what we've got up next.
Simo, Rocks, and Zopa.
Could be a very interesting one. I've only caught, I believe, one of Zopa's races.
I will say that Zopa has pretty exceptional mechanical movement, trying their hand at some randos. So, Simo also pretty good both rando and mechanical. So this could be interesting. I think I would give Zopa the edge for mechanical and Simo the edge for logical.
That's another 1-2 round, by the way.
Yeah, I think it'll be all the 1-2s first because Challenge does not list them in like a logical order. Because
right,
why would they do something like that?
Good.
Next
keeps
up,
us guessing.
We've got Incroyable versus 64-bit Link.
Nice. 64-bit Link, a 3-peater in the SMRAT tournament, and one of the only runners in this tournament that on just every race will go down and check below Mother Brain if they don't have those early power bombs. So I've seen Link win races on that check alone. It does put you back a little bit, but if it's something nice there and you have it early on, that's super nice. But this is going to be a pretty cool matchup.
Yeah, Incroyable, at least a 2-time repeat, maybe 3?
Yeah, I think 2.
I think 2. My opponent from week 2. Unfortunately, you don't get to really see much of your opponent when you're racing them because that would be illegal. All right, let's see what we have next. We have Steph Cad versus Happy Artea.
Ooh.
Steph Cad, one of our French Force runners.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Steph Cad definitely a good Super Metroid runner from a mechanical perspective. Happy Artea. They're both Steph Cat and Happy Artea first time in the SMRAT tournament. So will be interesting to see what they have going on for their match.
We're being told in chat there are 15 of these 1 and 2 matches. So
Oh, nice.
next up, Reem Octorus versus Thornito. That should be an interesting one.
There you go, Reem.
Thornito has really, really good mechanics.
Yeah, Thornito is a really good runner. Definitely one of the stronger 1-2s. I'm actually interested to see who Stratlog or Dirksu. I mean, a Stratlog Dirksu match would be pretty exciting.
Well, I have bad news for you.
What's up? Oh, okay.
Next up,
There
we
we
have
go.
Stratlog versus Jargle Bargle.
This is a great match because I've known Stratlog and Jargle Bargle for like almost 4 years each. Really good friends of mine. So I'm just from a personal perspective, I'm really, really, really excited about this one. Stratlog, an unbelievably good runner, probably one of the best suitless Meridia runners. Can definitely run circles around suitless crystal flash clipping. Jargo Bargle is one who's been in. They've both been in SMRAT all 3 years, and so this is a really exciting matchup right here.
If I hadn't watched Stratlog's race earlier this week, I'd be saying something like, all Jargle has to do is save once, and the match is in the bag. But I saw Stratlog save during his last race, and I'm not convinced that that's legal.
We still don't have proof that was Stratlog.
We don't.
We don't have proof.
The jury's still out on that one.
All right, let's see what we got next. Sasho Boss versus Tillymorph.
Okay.
Ooh.
That should be a really good one. I know Tilly much more than I know about Sasho. Tilly, a fantastic vanilla runner, runs a good bit of randomizer as well. One of the gatekeepers, I would call him, in this 1 and 2 bracket.
Yeah, Sasho, I believe, hails from Australia. Sasho is a 51-minute any percent runner, so mechanically speaking, a very good runner. But Tillymorph is a 49, high 49 any percent runner. So mechanically, they are very similar. Tillymorph is a semifinalist from last year's mouse bracket. So from a rando perspective, Tillymorph definitely has an edge here, but mechanically they are very similar.
All right. Well, next up we've got another one of the ones that we were discussing a little bit earlier that might be considered one of the gatekeepers of 1 and 2. Idle Child versus Benergetic.
Oh, snap.
I don't know much about Idle Child as a runner. I've unfortunately not been able to catch any races, but I know Benergetic, and I know he's a quality runner.
Yeah, Benergetic also a sub 50 any percent runner, mechanically very sound. Also the second year that they've been in SMRAT. Idle Child, my opponent from week 1, I believe. Pretty good runner, at least logically. So I mean, it could be an interesting matchup for sure. But Ben is definitely a good Supermetric runner.
All right.
No, Zero. No, we don't have to let you generate the seed for Ben versus Idle Child.
We don't.
It's not required.
It might happen, but it might not. Anyway, moving up, we've got Prankard versus Vibrant Colors.
Ooh.
That should be a good one. Vibrant Colors, a good runner. Prankard, a good runner. Prankard got fairly deep in the mouse bracket last year, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that match.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to see 2 of Vibrant Colors matches this round. Excuse me. And I'm looking forward to this race.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Fate Fyrix versus Essie.
Oh, Essie is definitely one of the absolute monsters in this 1-2 bracket. Very good, both mechanically and logically. Fate definitely has their hands full for this one, but we've seen some crazy things happen.
Yeah. Randomizer is the great equalizer. So I mean, once again, and I will laud this until I die. I've beaten Ponk in randomizer. Just throwing that out there.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
This will be 3 matches left, and that'll be the end of the 1-2s.
All right. Well,
Excuse me,
next
four
up
left.
is Balthazar, who we just saw in the previous race, versus Tommy Lee 67.
Okay, Balthasar, an absolute staple in the SM community, definitely has some pretty good times across various categories. Tommy Lee, an absolute unit in the SMZ3 scene. So logically speaking, from a rando perspective, very good. So this could be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, and I will say SMRAT logic, really it closely mirrors the SMZ3 casual logic, as far as tricks required and such.
Right.
So this is one of the types of one of the randomizer logics where SMZ3 experience could actually really help you out a little.
I would argue that it's a little bit easier than the SMZ3 casual logic because I don't have to remember to go from criteria into Hyrule to the Dark World over to east of Ice Palace, so that I can go into the back of Meridia. It's a little bit nicer that way.
Fair enough.
For sure.
Fair enough.
For
Yeah,
sure.
you're not having to remember the combo portion of the logic.
Right.
Trick wise, though, very similar.
There's 216 fewer item locations to worry about Speed Booster being at.
All right, next up, we've got Leslie Pro versus Slow Guy.
Ooh.
Nice. So we have a pro versus someone who's slow. So this could be.
I mean,
just kidding.
If I'm going pro versus slow, you probably have to pick pro just based on names alone.
Absolutely.
They both have an underscore. That's a point in their favor.
I'm glad you underscored that.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay. And I think coming up, this might be the last of the 1-2s.
Nope, two more.
Two more. Well, the one who we've considered the gatekeeper the whole time.
Dirksu?
Kath versus Dirksu.
Oof. Dirksu is mad good. I believe Dirksu runs like a 46? 47? No, 48. High 47 or low 48, 80%. He's an absolute monster when it comes to mechanical movement. And he's really good. This is his 3rd time in SMRAT. I believe this is Kath's 1st time in SMRAT. I think that is correct. But yeah, this is definitely the one that I was particularly worried about who would draw Dirksu, because that's a tough one.
That's a tough out in the 1 and 2 bracket here. But once again, randomizer, the great equalizer.
Mm-hmm. Don't give up hope, Kath.
Don't give up
Practice.
hope.
Play your best game.
Play your best, and you never know. And so this one will be the last of the 1-2s.
Yes. Last 1-2.
We got Shadow 42085 versus OK Beamer.
Nice.
I freely admit I know virtually nothing about either of these runners.
So Beamer, hailing from Germany, great runner. Shadow, I believe from the United States. This is his first time doing rando, I believe, but he's actually pretty good from what I've seen of the various races that he's been in. So this could be an interesting matchup, but I definitely would give the edge to Beamer here because just of all the practice and effort Beamer has put into SMRAT over the past few weeks.
Looks like it's going to move now to the 0 and 3s because that's a logical progression. We've got Freddy N3K versus Ludacris. Jay, we're relying on your knowledge of runners.
Yep. Jay, this is the part where you say words about these two.
Well, Freddy and Ludacris are both newcomers to SMRAT. This is their first year. This is the 2-1 matchups, right?
0-3.
0-3.
Oh, this is the 0-3 matchups. My apologies.
We went from 1-2 to 0-3, and then we'll probably go to 2-1 because that makes sense.
Right. So, I would say Ludacris is definitely. Well, they're both definitely they're coming from the vanilla side, and so they're trying their hand at rando, both of them. And as you can see, 0-3 for both of them could be an interesting matchup to see who can finally get their first win in the tournament. I don't know a lot about them other than what they've performed and done in this current tournament, but they are more vanilla wise.
Well, you already know more about them than we do. That's nothing against them. I just obviously can't catch every match. Next up in the 0-3 bracket, we've got the Real Gerbo versus Kaede Rukawa.
I enjoyed watching Kaede's race the other day, and it's unfortunate that the Real Gerbo had to cancel today's race after canceling again on Wednesday. All we can do is wish the Real Gerbo a quick and healthy recovery and the ability to play this match.
I will mimic that sentiment. We wish you a speedy recovery. Next up in the 0-3 bracket, we have Yuzuriha versus Y2 Sky.
Okay, Yuzuriha, actually a YouTuber, I believe, does his streaming on YouTube. Recently, for the tournament, does Twitch for the tournament. Y2 Sky also a pretty good runner. Both first timers in SMRAT, for the record. So looking forward to these 0-3 matchups between these runners that are like all 6 of these runners that just come across the screen, all first timers. So it's really cool to see these newer runners in SMRAT.
It really is. And with respect to Yuzuriha, I commented on the first match that Yuzuriha was in and made a note and then forgot to mention, but it seems to have been cleared up by the second match, that you get ready for the screen on the start game screen, not on the select file screen. And I'm glad that Yuzuriha got that note, because just again underscoring how new some of these racers are. It seems reasonable to start on the select file screen, but we start on the start game screen.
Right.
All right. Next up, we've got Old Man Sunshine versus Putsku. Old Man Sunshine, I know he's been in at least 2 SMRATs, maybe all 3. Yeah. Major staple of the practice races.
Absolutely. OMS is pretty awesome for commentary the last years. As you mentioned, and setting up practice races. Wonderful individual. Putsku is actually super awesome because Putsku played Super Metroid many years ago, right? Putsku played their absolute first randoed seed for their first race and never touched rando. Their first randoed seed ever played when I rolled it and handed them on their first race. That is pretty amazing. That they would, join this tournament having never done rando before. I think that's really cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing how much they've improved over the last 3 weeks. But facing Old Man Sunshine is definitely a tall task because OMS has a lot of experience.
All right, then. Hopefully you guys didn't get too much robot out of that, because I got a little.
My bad.
It's all good. We know you're having net issues right now, Jay.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that Invarial and I are here.
I'm helping in that I occasionally say words.
There you go.
Last 0-3 matchup upcoming.
We've got Arumnus versus Evil Sparky.
Okay. Arumnus is the first timer here in SMRAT. Evil Sparky, however, is a 3-peater and one of the original mods for the initiating of SMRAT. So Evil Sparky goes way back in SMRAT. So definitely looking forward to this one between Arumnus and Evil Sparky.
Right, next up, it is moving us to the 2-1s. So,
2-1. This gauntlet of group.
Yeah, this is going to be a slobber knocker, to borrow a wrestling term. First up in the 2-1 bracket, we've got Music versus Saffron.
Oh. Saffron, quite possibly the greatest I don't know that there's a single person out there on this planet that has played more hacks than Saffron. So has been put in a lot of situations where they have been in that will help them, throughout, rando, particularly low percent. Mujic, a newcomer to SMRAT. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is also Saf's first attempt at SMRAT, but they may have been in Randomizer League. I could be wrong.
That
But
that
both,
sounds right.
that sounds right. Both really good runners.
Mhm.
But you've never done Rando League? Okay. Well, regardless, Saf is a really, really good runner. So I'm looking forward to that one.
And outside of this match, you will hear Music 75's name a lot in SRA, as Music has stepped up to be a restreamer and has done tracking on a number of these races. For a first timer into SRA, Music is spending a lot of time with us, and it is greatly appreciated.
Yes. Big shout outs to Music for all the tracking and recent restream. Appreciate it.
All right.
Also, Music's race yesterday was really good. The 6-way.
Yeah, that 6-way was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on, we have another runner who has done a lot of help to those of us here at Speedrunners Arena. We've got Raikou Rider versus Glove.
Oh,
Very nice.
Raikou Rider, I believe, comes more from the SMZ3 side of things.
That's right. An absolute staple in that SMZ3 community.
And Glove has done a bunch of restream commentary, just been very, very helpful to us here at SRA.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be a really fun match to watch.
For sure. Raikou definitely coming from, from a logic perspective. Perhaps, I don't know. I mean, Glove definitely knows their way around SMRAT. So this could be really interesting.
Yeah, that should be a good one, I hope it happens at a time frame where I am able to watch it.
Agreed.
Next up, we've got Farfaloo versus 00713, who commentated the race that led into the reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 0.
Farfaloo, I believe this is first SMRAT.
Correct.
The name doesn't look super familiar. That's the only reason I say that, and I've not been able to catch any matches.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have also not been able to catch any of matches by Farfaloo, but of course, 0, two-timer in SMRAT, big time, also staple in the practice scene, tracker commentator from last year, coming back into comms this year. It's I don't know much about Farf.
Is Zero the one that's setting up the daily or weekly practice races for SMRAT? Is that Zero's doing?
0 is a big part of setting them up. But I think there's a few out there that really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know who to go to if you want to play some practice SMRAT seeds.
That's
just
right.
Pile on 0 and.
Also, if you want to play trolley ones, I believe 0 keeps a collection of them.
Absolutely.
That's not surprising to me either.
We're being told in chat that Farfaloo does the SMZ3 quite a bit.
Great runner. Cool.
Nice.
All right. Next up, we've got Lady versus Magoo.
Ooh.
Lady Smale versus Magoo. That'll be an interesting race to watch.
Is Lady Smale from the UK?
Yes.
And Magoo is from France, yeah?
Magoo is one of our French Force runners.
Very nice. So that could be an interesting match.
That could also happen at a weird time for us North Americans.
So I will say Magoo goes way back in the SMRAT community, has been with us for all 3 years. An incredible mechanical runner and a really, really good, I believe it was a top 13 finisher in SMRAT 1. So it definitely has the skills necessary to win this match. Lady Smale, this is their first time in SMRAT. Has not been doing a bad job either as a 2-1 participant.
You don't get the 2-1 by doing a bad job.
Exactly.
All right. Next up, we've got Mocktroid versus Noxious Nick.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
That should be a fantastic match.
That is, that's so good. Noxious Nick, a I believe has been in both years for Randomizer League and was in maybe last year for SMRAT, but is definitely a force to be reckoned with on the rando scene. Mocktroid was a semifinalist in the mouse bracket of last year, an absolute unit. Probably one of the biggest comeback stories ever. Went from like 2-hour 30 seeds average throughout SMRAT 2 all the way down to like sub-hour. Unbelievable
And
how
just
quickly
tore
Mocktroid.
through the losers bracket of SMRAT
Yeah,
2 mouse
absolutely
bracket.
just completely obliterated the loser bracket in SMRAT 2 to make it to where he did. And yeah, that's going to be a really good match.
That should be.
And we have the gauntlet officially dropped in chat. Noxious Nick saying, "Come at me, Mocktroid."
Woo!
And Mocktroid
And
with the
Mocktroid.
Metroid heart.
I believe that's a Mocktroid, actually.
Yeah, probably so, since it's coming from Mocktroid.
Yeah.
Moving on. Next up, we've got Bagel Thief versus Bison. Bread versus meat.
Ooh.
Nice. Bagel Thief, another 3-timer in the SMRAT community. Bagel Thief, I think another top 13 finisher from SMRAT 1, knocked me out of the losers bracket on his way to get there. Bison, a newcomer to SMRAT. Bison, primarily a vanilla runner, but is dabbing now into some randomized. I can't quite remember where Bison's from, but Bagel is from the UK. I want to say it was like Norway or Sweden. Where's Bison? Anyone know where Bison's from?
I don't. I don't ask everyone I meet
Russia.
where they're from, like you do, Jay. I'm not keeping a list to serial kill them later.
Or for any other reason, right, Cheese?
Or for any other reason, I suppose. Bison's from Russia.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, moving on. I get to meet my doom. Bressingham versus yours truly.
No way. Oh my gosh.
I've seen this Cheese Reaver guy play Super Metroid before. He's not that great.
He's really not. I don't know how he made it into the 2-1 bracket, but he's about to get wrecked by Bressingham.
So
Bressingham, an absolute G, as Jay would call him.
Yep, a unit really. Bressingham at 47, 46, I believe, any percent runner.
Cheese,
Truly,
who doesn't run any percent at all.
Mechanically, you would have to. You're not that bad either, Cheese, mechanically, but Bressingham is just definitely in a league of his own.
And we're being told in the chat we need to mention the fact that this is ham versus cheese.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not forget that Cheese Reaver was a top 13 finisher from SMRAT 1.
I came in 7th place, Jay. You could just call it 7th place.
Exactly. So Cheese, from a logic perspective, is literally no one to sleep on. Bressingham can be a 43% runner, but if you don't know the logic, it really is going to come down to those plays and who decides on what to do. So actually, this is a toss-up in my opinion.
It's also worth mentioning that, Cheese, you entered this tournament 0-1, which means that of the 2 races that you've played, you've won them both.
I've actually only raced once. Unfortunately,
you've only raced once. You inherited a 1-1 record.
My week 3 opponent had to drop out of the tournament.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I'm actually sort of 1-0.
1-0 with a 2-1 record. Regardless, Cheese Reaver so far undefeated, Bressingham having lost once. I look forward to you scheduling that at a time that I can comment it.
All right, and let's see. Hopefully we get Toasty up next. So the bagel, ham, cheese. We have bread, ham, cheese, bread. But we
Will
don't.
Bressingham mysteriously drop out as well, asks Zero. That's how you get to 6-1. Oh, my opponent had to
drop out. Oops. No.
For reasons not related to a list I'm not making.
So
Amadeus versus Kevnastics.
Kevnastics, mechanically speaking, is really good. Amadeus is this is their 3rd time in SMRAT. One of my old opponents from SMRAT 2. I was hoping to potentially get a rematch against them, but I think maybe the way the records are now. I don't know if that's going to happen. But Amadeus, really good runner. Kevnastic's a really good runner. Also very good at Hundo. So that translates very well to Rando because you're checking all of these locations that you normally wouldn't check in any percent. So Kevnastics is definitely really, probably the favored one here, but Amadeus definitely knows their way around Super Metroid and the logic.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I look forward to this match as well. I've seen Amadeus race a few times, and
Amadeus is also a keyboard user, so he will lose by default.
I am in favor of that. I started out playing emulated games with keyboard because I didn't have a joystick, and keyboard, despite its input limits, is incredible.
Well, this next one, because I actually can see one ahead because of the way I'm streaming this. It should have come on this line instead of the previous one, but I'm actually super excited for this one. Toasty versus Junie.
Oh my goodness.
That is going to be amazing.
Are you kidding me?
Junie gonna June, but Toasty
gonna toast. Whew. That.
There's really not a lot you can say about this. Both runners, absolute staples of the community, quite possibly two of the nicest people on this planet. Toasty, three-peater in a SMRAT. Junie, three-peater in a SMRAT. Both made it exceptionally far, both in SMRAT 1 and 2. Toasty making it a little bit further than Junie did, but Junie has just been putting in an insane amount of work.
Toasty knocked me out of SMRAT 1. Junie knocked me out of SMRAT 2.
Exactly. Yeah, that's that's a good one. That's a really good.
And we've got our first match scheduled for this week: Reem Octours versus Thornado tonight at 8.
Nice.
All right, moving on. Next up, are we at the 3-0s? Is this starting the 3-0s or no? This is still 2-1s. Diddy Kong versus Pizza. Pizza, the winner of the race that led into this. And Diddy Kong, another one of our French Force runners.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Diddy Kong, exceptionally good mechanically. Also a three-peater in SMRAT, so just knows their way around the SMRAT logic. When you've been doing something for multiple years, you definitely have an edge. Pizza, if I'm not mistaken, this is their second attempt. I can't quite remember if they've been in for 3. My apologies, but
I believe
Pizza,
these two.
really, really good mechanical runner. So this is going to be a really, look at these last 2 matchups. Really, these last 4 matchups, really absolute baller matches right here.
And that's the beauty of the Swiss, that as we get further in, the matches should just get even more and more exciting, because you should get people whose skill level just matches really well. Should be great.
For sure.
Next up, Papa Schmo versus Glaucio Souza.
Ooh.
Hailing from Brazil, if I'm not mistaken, Glaucio Souza. And Papa Schmo from the United States. That's a good match. Glaucio Souza, also a three-peater in the SMRAT community, so knows their way around SMRAT. Papa Schmo, more of a vanilla runner, trying their hand at some rando, but definitely mechanically pretty sound. So hey, could be pretty interesting one there.
Also, Papa Schmo, one of our newcomers that is volunteering a lot of time on the backside of things.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Done some restreaming, done some tracking. I think he's also done some commentary.
I think Papa Schmo's also done some comms, yeah.
Papa Schmo has actually really, really solid commentary.
Excellent. Next up, this should be a really good one. Another really good one. Bonus versus Knucklehead.
Ooh.
Bonus,
Knucklehead,
who unfortunately...
Well,
Bonus, who unfortunately drew the Sloters this past round.
Let's not forget, Bonus was very close to taking that match from Sloters. Sloters, of course, did die to Ridley doing Suicide Lower Norfair, but it was a pretty close matchup. Bonus played a very good match. Knucklehead, this will be their second time in SMRAT. Bonus, this is their first time in SMRAT. But yeah, this is going to be a good matchup.
That Bonus Sloters match was like 2 minutes, wasn't it?
Maybe less than 2.
It was less than 2, yeah.
It was close.
Very close.
All right.
This will be a very interesting and good race between these two. And Nanaimo is both a place and Nanaimo bars are a food. Nanaimo is in British Columbia, I believe.
All right then. Today I learned. But you know what else I just learned? Iron
The
Rusty
next
versus
race?
Lomian Jones.
Well, that is one race Iron Rusty won't be able to comment on.
That is very true. Is this the last? This might. I think this is the last of the.
Two more,
Two more. Two more.
I think.
This should be a really good race. Rusty, super solid runner. Lomian Jones, super solid runner. Honestly, just it should be a good one. I think their skill levels match up quite well. And Rusty
Yeah,
has no
Iron
comment.
Rusty, my opponent from last week. Iron Rusty, of course, is the only person to defeat Junie June this tournament in a really good race. Lomian Jones, also a really good runner. So, yeah, this one's going to be a super awesome. Yeah, the Junie Slayer. pretty good matchup.
All right, next up. Oh, I clicked off. Next up, RKC TKC versus Nacerius.
Ooh.
Nacerius.
Midwest runner RKC, an absolute staple in the co-op community. You're talking Kevnastics, RK, MM2, Kuru. Those gentlemen are like setting the stage for anything co-op related. RK has really good movement, but Nacerius, a three-peater in the SMRAT community, hails from Germany, I believe. I think this one is going to be logic v movement. Honestly, this is going to be a really good matchup.
All right. And I believe this is the last of the 2-1s coming up. Mr. Guy Average versus Zero Lane.
Okay. Zero Lane, a semi-finalist from last year's mouse bracket. A really good runner, but let's not forget who we're dealing with Mr. Guy Average. Literally a top 50 runner in the world in any percent. And really any category you put him in front of, he's going to absolutely dominate it. Mr. Guy Average definitely one of the stronger 2-1s of this group. Zero, however, is still, of course, proving that they can make it far, being a semifinalist in the mouse bracket of last year. But this could be a very interesting matchup.
Yep.
All right, are you ready, everyone, for the 3-0 matchups?
No.
There are 5
No,
of them.
I know I'm not, because I don't know if I'm facing Sloters or Zeb. I don't know. It could be.
All right. Well, looking at this, you're going to be facing one of Nevdi, Zeb316, MM2 Nest Cartridge, Hacksaw, Kuru9798, Skipsy, Chex Human, Neaterific, and of course Sloters.
Oh,
Those are your 10 undefeated SRA participants.
And there aren't any good options to face in that list.
no.
They are all good options in that all 10 of these people are incredible Super Metroid players, SRA players, read the logic well. Some of them even know to check the top of Rex ship, Jay.
Hey, I checked the top of Rex ship in my last race. I did.
All right.
And we're still not convinced that was you playing. So
we still don't have proof. All right. Our first 3-0 matchup is Hacksaw versus Sloters.
Okay. So Hacksaw pulled the Sloats.
Yep, that's not the card that anybody wanted to pull.
Let me just point something out real quick about Sloters. He truly is like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you're talking about someone who did suitless lower Norfair, died to Ridley, and that first Ridley fight was honestly pretty slow because of the patterns Ridley was giving him, and he still managed to do it suitless one more time and finish at a 57. Are you kidding me?
And pulled Crystal Flash off with 5 health remaining as Ridley died?
Yes, Sloters is truly in a whole class of their own. There really is no seed that you can play well against Sloters because he can finish with so many different loadouts. There's not a loadout.
I could beat Sloters.
Sorry?
I could beat Sloters.
You do it.
All I need to do is 1, unplug Slaughter's controller, 2, blindfold him, 3, lock him in the basement, 4, get an hour and a half head start, and then maybe 5, I'd win.
All right. But that's not to take away from Hacksaw, who is also 3-0, just like Sloters.
Yeah, Hacksaw's really good.
Has beaten some quality opponents. Hacksaw's. Oh wait, no. I don't. Buckholtz doesn't actually come into play just yet until next round. So never mind. I was gonna talk about that, but that's not a thing. So let's find out who's next. Actually, I know who's next because, like I said, I could see it. And Jay, I'm sure you were wondering who you're up against.
Yes.
I'm certain you have questions.
Yes.
J-Chalk versus Nidorific.
Neat.
Okay, interesting.
That's a Nido.
That's pretty neat. Well, at least for Nidorific, I know that they are pretty fantastic at SMZ3. This is their first time in SMRAT. I don't really feel comfortable talking about myself, so I'll just leave that over for you guys.
Jay's terrible at this game, and we have no idea how he's 3-0, other than the fact that he's an admin, and we assume has cheated. Moving on. Next up, we've got Nevdi versus Chex Human.
All right.
I believe I've silenced
the person
Jay.
who talks about all of these people, J-Chalk, looking forward to you talking about this race.
Nevdi, Nevdi, I've watched Nevdi for a couple years now, has like truly improved mechanically, really good hundo runner, really good for the hundo tournament, really had a lot of improvement. Nevdi, a superb GT Classic runner, 80% runner, an absolute beast, and is really, really, really good at rando. Surprisingly, I'm last 3 races, I've beat Nevdi all 3 times. So I was really hoping to get Nevdi this round because I know Nevdi would want another shot against me, and I think that would have been a pretty cool race. Chex Human, a SMZ3 runner and a Link to the Past runner, coming into SMRAT for the first time. A pretty good runner, 3-0 here, so this is going to be an interesting one, but Nevdi is very, very good, both mechanically and just able to finish seeds with various loadouts. A good way of being successful in this tournament specifically is being able to complete the game with as many loadouts as possible and as low to low percent as possible, whilst also being comfortable and quick enough to finish with those loadouts. So Nevdi is definitely one of those individuals who can do that. So that's going to be a pretty interesting one.
Next up, another one of our keyboard users, MM2 NES cartridge versus Skipsy.
If keyboard is so bad, explain why MM2 NES cartridge is 3-0.
Facts. Skipsy, the absolute, what do you call it, Cinderella story? I think, yeah. When you take down the bigger opponent, you're a Cinderella. Is that right? Yeah.
No.
Skipsy taking out. No.
Underdog is probably the word you're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, like the NCAA tournament, when you're a Cinderella,
Yeah, but no, Cinderella was Mocktroid in last year's losers bracket. Yeah, you have to keep it going to be a Cinderella story.
Fair enough.
It's just one match. It's just an underdog.
So if Skipsy takes out MM2, then they're reaching that Cinderella status.
Yes, we'll go with that.
Sure. So Skipsy, hailing from Germany, a pretty awesome dude, facing off against MM2, one of the best keyboard runners in the world. Honestly, there's not a lot of them, at least that are known about, at least on the leaderboard wise. Also, one of those individuals that we talked about with ties to the co-op scene with Kuru, Kevnastics, and RKC. Really good runner, regardless of the category you put in front of them. I couldn't quite put I don't know who I would put my points on for this match. Skipsy did. Oh, I forgot to mention, Skipsy was the individual who took out a Mr. Guy average in a really good race. Yeah.
Yep.
Who knows? This could be an interesting one.
And I believe chat has figured it out. We've got one race to go. And one of its participants I don't think is super happy about this last matchup. Last year's grand champion, Zeb316 versus Kuru 9798.
Yes, I mean, there's really not a lot to say when you're the reigning grand champion of the rat bracket, best of the best in the rat bracket from last year, beat them all. Zeb316, I'm pretty sure didn't even lose a match. Went through the entire tournament, knocking off the reigning grand champion, Ponk. And Ponk was the grand champion from SMRAT 1. Unfortunately, Ponk was unable to join SMRAT 3. Would have been pretty interesting to see. A lost match to Asger. Okay, and Asger, of course, is one of the best rando players for really any game. You put Asger on a game, and he will torch that game. But Zeb, of course, grand champion versus Kuru, that other individual I was talking about in regards to the co-op scene. I mean, Kuru's really good, but I mean, it's Zeb, so I mean, we all know, facing off against a grand champion is pretty difficult. So good luck to Kuru.
I'm gonna stop you right there, and I'm gonna remind you not to discourage our runners.
For sure.
Because as Cheese has mentioned a few times, it's randomizer and anything can happen in randomizer. It is the great equalizer. If you go up and your opponent goes down, and that's where all of your items are, you're going to be ahead. And definitely. I mean, I understand the brick wall that it looks like Kuru is facing with previous tournament winner Zeb316. But it's randomizer and you're also 3-0.
I mean,
sure.
Kuru didn't get to where he is by being bad at the game.
Precisely.
So I didn't want to make a scene that I was disparaging.
No. But
no. You weren't. It's just remember, everyone. Like Invarial said, like I've said several times, randomizer is the great equalizer. One decision, one skip check.
Yeah.
One catch-up beam to the face.
One catch-up to the face, and it can be all over. And that's it. That is the reveal. There are no more races. You can go home now.
There are, but
there are. We even got one already scheduled for this evening at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Remock Tourist versus
Thornito, right?
Thornito will happen tonight at 8 p.m. And I believe they are setting up a large practice race right after this in the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, go ahead and join the Discord. We have a button for that, I'm pretty sure.
Prankert asking a question for Jay. What is the format of the brackets after Swiss 7?
Yeah, great question. So after the round 7 Swiss finishes, we will have a week between the ending of Swiss 7 and the starting of bracket stages, where we will have what's called a group play-in stage, where basically a lot of the middle runners will be put into some sort of group play-in to where we can better decide the cutoff between rat and mouse bracket. Following that, we will be cutting it in half, putting the top runners in the rat bracket, single elimination, best of 3 with a best of 5 finals, and a mouse bracket, single elimination up until the best of 5 finals. Following both brackets, we will have the grand champion from mouse and the grand champion from rat do a best of 5 and an invitational for funsies.
And also at the end of the 7-round Swiss, in that interim week before the actual bracketing stage, expect the commentator round, where the 3 commentators who have not participated in SMRAT this particular year will be going to play a match against each other to show how bad at the game we are and why we didn't enter.
Those that do, those that can do, those that can't teach, and those who really can't commentate.
That's right. Those 3 commentators are Alfonso, myself, and Firon Burgundy.
Yep. But all right, I think that's about it. So, like I said, I believe they are setting up a large practice race in the Discord, and I dropped the link to the Discord in the chat. So please do join our Discord. It's worth it. And I don't know if we want to raid somebody or not, if we're about to do a big practice race. I'll leave that to Jay's decision, because
yeah, I'm looking for peeps right now. see if anyone's doing Super Metroid.
While Jay is looking for that, I'll fill the dead air by saying thank you everyone for coming out to the SMRAT 2021 Swiss Round 4 reveal. I have been and will continue to be in Varial. Cheese Reaver
I
was the
was
person
Cheese Reaver. I cannot guarantee I will continue to be.
Cheese Reaver may become moldy over the course of the next couple of weeks, but was kind enough to set up the restream for this. And of course, our main commentator and the guy who knows the most about what's going on here, Jay Chalk.
Who's currently frantically trying to find someone to raid.
That's right.
Well, I see that we have 2 of our participants. They're doing SMZ3, Farfaloo or Niterific. So here, we'll do a poll.
Really? Really, Jay?
Farfaloo or Niterific?
Wow.
SMRAT says Farfaloo first. I think Farfaloo wins.
All right, Farfaloo's got it.
So on behalf of the 3 of us here, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next mission.
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out, and see you at 8 o'clock for the first round, fourth race.
First race, round 4.
That's the words. Have a great.
Have a good one, everybody.
Take care, all.
Jay, did you actually use the raid? Okay.
Yeah, I pulled a fast one. We're ready, Meterific.
Lies. I feel lied to, chat. Press 1 in chat if you feel lied to.
B. Jonas did point out that we have raided Farfaloo recently. I still feel lied to.
Still feel lied to. Whether it's a good or a bad thing that it was changed, I still feel lied to.
Stroutlog is using binary rounded mod 2. You're here 1.
Jay, just hit the raid button. This is already turning into a dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm. Turning into?
And we're clear.
And we're clear. I hope turning into